Good afternoon, sir, madams, and welcome to this session for online verification. I am joined from FFE by my two colleagues. I see Srividya and Anju. I'm going to share a quick presentation wherein I will describe the steps what we have planned for online verification. So we will be having a question and answer session at the end of it, so that if you have any doubts, we can clarify at that point in time. Can you all see my screen now?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. So as you know, we have opened the prelim application window, and some students have already started applying. Many of the students are undergoing counseling, etc. So there may be very few applications in the month of November is what I'm expecting. But in the month of December, we might have enough applications coming in. So as is practice, FFE staff, the team members in scholarship team will look at the applications, ensure they fall under our eligibility criteria as per policy. And then what we will do is we will match them to the facilitators as we normally do. The only difference between last year and this year would be that the email which comes to you giving you the details of the student, etc., will and the details of facilitator to the student will now not carry your home address or any address which you have given us. We will only be sharing your phone number and your email ID, because we don't want any students to visit you physically. Physical meeting is what we are going to avoid through this online verification. Okay, so the email is the moment so even in the matching process, what we are doing is we will match the facilitators of a particular state to the student of the same state. We are not looking at vicinity anymore because physical meeting is not there. So we are only looking at the comfort of the language. If anybody who is in Karnataka will be assuming able to speak Kannada, so we will be matching Karnataka students to Karnataka facilitators. The reason being that you can talk to the parents very fluently in their particular language, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so facilitators are matched to the students, and then FFE staff will match this. Okay. Okay, what I will be doing is I will be making all of you facilitators online, and I will show you in the next few minutes how you can log in into your profile. When you log in into your profile, you'll be able to look at the application of the student also. Okay. So FFE verification team will, check the application. They will match to the facilitator. Then we will also talk to the student and tell them to upload all the 12 documents into their application. So when the facilitator receives the email, they will have access to all the documents. Sir, request you all to mute yourselves. Okay.
I think as a host, you can mute everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm now going to show you how to log in into your profile. Okay, all of you are familiar with this website. Please go to our website. Go to our website, ffe.org. There is a place here called login. I seem to have muted everybody. I still hear a lot of disturbance though. Okay.
A few are not muted, Shubha. You may
Achha,
want to
achha.
look at the participant list and
Mute all current and new participants, it says. I said mute all. Srividya, I'm also making you the host.
Okay, I will do it.
I made you the co-host, right? Or host, both are okay. Yeah, I've done that. All right. Sorry for the interruption. As you can see on my screen, you need to go to our website, ffe.org. Click on the button called login. Okay. Here you need to choose login as facilitator and enter your registered email ID, the email ID which you have registered with us. Currently, I'm using my email ID. Okay. A temporary URL is sent to your inbox. So please go to your inbox. You will see an email from Foundation for Excellence. Once you open that, you can see that there is a link provided to access your profile. Just click on that link and it will open your profile. Okay. So the first page is about your profile. It will give you your details, address, name, etc. Then comes student listings. It will show all the students who have been matched to you. Okay. So the moment you get an email from us, that means the student will appear here in your student listing. Okay. So you need to click on this I. For example, if I want to look at Panchal Varun, I will click on the I here to access.
I think you're not showing your screen.
Oh.
No,
I
we are
can
able
see
to
the
see.
screen.
Yeah, we are
I
able
can
to see.
I'm
Yeah, we are able
Yeah.
to see.
So,
Even
okay,
I'm,
okay,
I'm
okay,
able to
okay,
see it.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, no
okay,
problem.
okay, fine. No problem.
He has to make his video on.
No problem, sir. I think he must have moved out from
Yeah,
that
yeah,
window.
no, I got it now.
You got it. Okay, fine. Yeah, so you will look at the application of the student. This is how you can see the basic information, the image. This may be a repetition for people who are familiar with this, but who are not familiar, I'm repeating it for them. Please bear with me. The educational information of the student, 10th and 12th, what he has scored, entrance test information, which course and college he has taken admission into, then the family details, then details about the whatever he has entered. Okay, I'll come back to this facilitator remarks. If you scroll down, then you can also see the documents which the student has uploaded. Okay, so once the student uploads the documents, you can all those documents will be visible to you. There are 12 documents. Sorry, I forgot to show you how a student applies also. A student can go to the website, click on apply. Yeah. So a student will first see the scholarship information. Here we are giving all the details of the documents that he is supposed to upload. We are talking about new student. So he'll have 10th, 12th marks card, bona fide, rank certificate, counseling. You all are familiar with this. The new document which we are asking them to upload this time is called the e-Aadhaar or the original Aadhaar card, because we want to avoid any duplicates in the system. Okay. Then he clicks on the prelim form and he enters the details. As you know, the preliminary application, he fills in the details and submits the form. So what I would like to tell you here is, if you want to refer any particular student, meaning you know the student well and you think he deserves scholarship, you can please share your FFE UID with the student, and the student, while filling the form, has to say referred by facilitator. It will bring up the ID. If you enter the facilitator ID of any facilitator, (031,945), and if he clicks on verify facilitator, the name of the facilitator will also be visible. Okay, so what happens to when the application reaches us is, we already know that this particular application has been referred by a particular facilitator. Okay, so going back so the student, once he fills this in application, we will do the needful, we will talk to the student, we will ask him to upload the documents. So once he uploads the documents, the email will come to you and you can look at each of these documents on your system. Now, the prerequisite, I'm going back to my slides. Yeah. So the prerequisite for you, all of you, is to have at least a good internet connection and a laptop. Laptop is a must for you all to look at all the documentation which the student has uploaded. So having only a smartphone may not be enough, because you may not be able to see the documents properly which are uploaded by the student. We do not know any other way of doing this right now, because even if we send by email, you'll need to look at each of those documents. So it is best if you can have a computer or a laptop. Okay. And another prerequisite is probably for you to have WhatsApp, so that we can communicate with you effectively. Okay. Next, what we do after that, once you receive the email of the student, you have the student documents with you. You probably can scrutinize the document early, or you can do it over the call also. That is, both are fine. Next, what we will do is we will schedule a video call between the facilitator, the students, and the parents. The student and the parent might be in the same location in their home, or the student may be in college and the parents may be at home in two different locations. But in the video call, we will have all of you present. That is the facilitator, the students, the parents, and also the FFE staff member who is facilitating the call. Okay. So what we will do, that is what FFE staff will do, is we will speak to you first, facilitators first, ask you what is the time you would like to meet, have the video call with the student. It is totally your preference. If you all are working, we can have it over the weekend. If you all want to have late evening, that is fine. If you all are free during the day, that is also fine. We will ask the student and the parent to be ready any time, which is time and date which is preferable by the facilitator. So we will take the date and time first from you, and then we will convey it to the student and the parent. It is up to us to ensure that the student will be able to attend the Zoom or Google Meet. We will send the link, we'll teach them how to open it, how to operate it, all that. Okay. Then on the day the scheduled call will happen, the video call will be initiated. We will have all of you as the participants. It will be a conference call. And the first step which we will do is we will ask the student or the parent, whoever is there in the home location, to share their live location by WhatsApp with the FFE staff. Why we are doing this? We want to ensure that the student or the parent is actually in the house which they claim to be. Whatever address they have given is, which we have verified against the Aadhaar and which is registered with us. We want to ensure that the video call is happening when that parent or the student is in that particular location. We are going to ensure that by this sharing the live location between parent and the FFE staff member. Okay. Then we leave the stage to the facilitator. It's up to you all now to conduct your interview as you have been doing in the past. Like, you can interview the student based on all the documents that he has provided, which will be in front of you. Then you can interview the parents for all the other reasons, like whatever they have, their assets, their number of children, and you all know best what exactly to do. You can have the interview with the parent. Then the next step, what we will ask the student and the parent to do is to move around the house and show you the house and the amenities in the house. I'm sorry, you're still seeing the website. I'm looking at the PPT. Can you see the PPT now? Shividya?
Yes. Yeah,
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry. I just saw the chat. Okay. So like I was saying, on the video call, we will have all of you as the participants. And then the first thing the student and the parent will do is share their location to the FFE staff member. It is our duty to ensure that the student or the parent is in the house which they claim to be. And then we will leave it to the facilitators to do the interview with the students. You can cross-check the documentation, like whatever Aadhaar number, the 10th standard marks cards, details, 12th details, rank details, all those things. Then you can interview the parent also for their assets, for their income, siblings, all those things. Then we will ask the student or the parent, whoever is there in the house, to move around the house in the video call itself so that you can see the house. And we are going to ask the student to move from room to room and even outside the house, just so that you get an idea about the living conditions of the student. Okay. And that will be the end of the video call. Post the video call, we will be sharing one document with you for comfortable to do it on pen and paper, or if you are comfortable to do it online on the student profile itself. I'm going back to the website now. Yeah, if you're comfortable doing it online, then you can update the facilitator remarks here and enter the details. Have you been able to visit? Yes or no? I mean, all of them will be yes here because it's a video call and you're looking at the house. And then you can fill in all the details, any issues, any, if you're not happy with if you feel they're not deserving, please enter whatever remarks you feel is right here. If he's deserving, if he's not deserving, anything. Okay. Once you enter this, and there is a checkbox here, I've verified and attested all the documents. This is e-attestation. We are not expecting any physical attestation from you this time. And the most important point here, if you feel that the student deserves scholarship, please click on verify. If you feel the student does not deserve scholarship, please click on reject. Whatever you enter, immediately the student will not know. You can reject, we will get to know, and we will inform the student. It's our duty to convey the message to the student. So you can do that. You can click on reject. If you are following the pen and paper method, then I will just show you the document. Yeah, can you see the document on my screen right now?
Yes.
Yeah, Shweta. Okay, so you can, we will send you a copy of this. You can take a printout and you can fill it with your pen and whatever the details you want here. Okay, and then you can just take a photograph, sign it, put the date, etc., and just take a photograph of this document and send it to us either by email or by WhatsApp, whatever you think is convenient. Okay, so that is about the online verification. Post that, we will process. So what I would like to conclude with is, each video call we are expecting it to be from 15 to 20 minutes, wherein you can conduct your interview and look around the house. We are expecting this video calls to happen, the online verification to happen between November to March. And we are trying to get as many alumni to register as facilitators this time. So we are expecting not to load you all more than 15 to 20 students. Okay, so that is about it. We are open for questions now. Please ask me whatever questions you need to.
Hello, madam.
Yeah, yes, sir.
How much rank is mandatory for NEET or JEE?
Sir, I hope you have got the policy document which I have sent you. JEE is 75,000.
Okay, madam.
NEET is 40,000.
NEET is 40,000.
Yes. If you have not received policy, I will resend it, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Shubha.
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
So, for verification, it means you are telling the students that they should be ready with the originals in their hand.
We are telling the students to upload the documents.
They uploaded, and in the video call, we'll look at it. We'll look at the originals.
In the video call, sir, the documents will already be there with you in the way I showed you, right? When you log in as a facilitator, you can look at all their documents.
Yeah.
Okay, but during the video call, you can keep the documentation in front of you and have the video call simultaneously. Or if you're comfortable, you want to have 2 calls, for one to check the documentation initially, and then the video call. That's an input I need to take if you want that. Would that be preferable?
No, you mean we don't look at the originals. They don't have to show us original so that we can verify.
No,
it.
sir. No, sir.
Okay.
Yes. But that will be a problem this time because there will be no way they can show the originals to you. And sir, I have also noticed that many students submit their originals in their college. So
Okay.
most of them have their copies.
No, even if they have copies, there's no need to re-verify it, isn't? So we'll,
No, sir. No, sir. You can just have to e-verify it on the online itself.
okay.
Yeah, but we'll definitely ensure that the documentation is uploaded before the call itself. So you're, you know what, the merit of the student before you're talking to him.
Okay.
Shubha, I suggest that you ask the students to self-attest their certificates when they are uploading it.
Self-attestation, sir?
Yeah, that you can ensure it, because in most places we have been doing it.
Okay.
When, in foreign countries, when we ask for documents,
Huh.
we ask them to self-attest it.
Okay, sir.
So the self-attestation, because they'll have some sense of responsibility when we ask them to self-attest it.
Okay, sir. Let me just take this point ahead and see, communicate with the management and get back.
Okay.
I have a point.
Yes, sir.
In the online filling up, there is a drop down that says that have you visited the home? And in this case, we have to say that it was verified. We didn't, the visiting was on a video call basis. So drop down list may need a correction there.
You're right, sir. You're right. But I don't know if it is possible for us to do the correction right now.
Okay.
Because
We can write virtually.
Pardon me, ma'am.
I said we can write virtually.
Yeah, but there is only
drop down list doesn't give you that option when you are doing it online.
Okay.
Yes. It just says yes or no.
Yeah.
It just says yes or no.
Yeah.
Sir, you, my suggestion is you please put yes as of now, because you're virtually looking at the student's home, and you can mention if your special comments, you can mention there that it was done through video call.
All right.
Yeah, no issues, sir, with that.
All
We are very well aware that we are not asking anybody to visit anybody's house.
No, I understand, but how to overcome that you have suggested, I'll adopt that method.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Shubhaji,
Yes, sir.
we have to follow the same procedure for those students who are staying in hostel, as we did last year, about 50 students. Those who were staying in hostel and their parents are staying in rural areas. The
Right,
same
sir.
procedure we have to follow regarding their house and all these things.
Yes, sir. We are hoping that almost everybody should have at least a smartphone, so that the parent can also, join the video call. We want to ensure that. Otherwise, it is very difficult for you to, interview the parents, right?
Yeah.
So we want to ensure that. So what we are saying, what we want to tell the student is, suppose they say the parents don't have a smartphone, then we are requesting the student to use somebody's help, some neighbor, some friend who can give the smartphone to them during that time, for those 15-20 minutes, and that so that the video call can happen with you.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir. That is
Right.
that is what we are going to try maximum possible. If it is not possible, then sir, for those students, probably we will use some background verification agency or something. Jahan pe very background, where the people come from very rural areas and they don't have smartphone, they are not able to get on the video call. We will think of an alternative for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the suggestion is not for you all to meet anybody, sir, this time because of the pandemic.
Okay. Yeah.
Any,
I have one suggestion.
yes, sir.
That instead of taking scan copy, if board has given NAD, National Academic Depository certificate, then student can share that certificate that might be original. So that issue might be resolved if it is possible.
Yes, sir. Very good input, but
Yeah.
not everybody is adopting that National Academic Depository right now.
I'm not saying everyone, but who has this facility,
Yes.
can share that information.
Yes, they can share that information. Accordingly, once it is more, more people are using it, we also have to change our website and the application system also to be able to accommodate this also. So wherever students are able to provide it, we will accept it. It's a very good
that is my
input.
suggestion.
Also,
Not
yes,
everyone.
yes.
Are you referring to the DigiLocker one, sir, or are you referring to some
See,
other?
actually, last year, up to last year, it is done by CDSM and NSDL. But now this year, NAD is now comes to DigiLocker.
Okay.
So up to last year, it is CDSL and NSDL. But now CDSL and NSDL is discontinued for NAD, National Academic Repository.
Okay.
And it is DigiLocker is now comes in picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some universities and some school boards and central board actually provides their mark sheet in the DigiLocker, publish them in the DigiLocker. So maybe we can ask them to download the file in the PDF format from DigiLocker, and we can ask them to upload it. And if required, they can also e-sign with Aadhaar, which is by default enabled by DigiLocker, right? So that is also something that we can ask them to do, Shubha and Srividya.
Yes, sir. So if they provide it from DigiLocker, then anyways, very little worry about the authenticity of the documents.
Yes.
Yes, so that will be very helpful for us. Whoever is able to provide it, we will of course accept it because it's a more secure system. They're also signing it with their Aadhaar.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. One more quick question. So do we expect the student and the parent to be at the because sometimes some students might be in hostels or something like that, but like given the lockdown, they might be at home. We do not know for sure. So
yes, sir, we are expecting, I mean, both cases can be possible, but in the conference call we are trying to have both the student as well as the parent.
Okay. So in the call, both of them will be there. It is not necessary that they have to be at the same location.
Exactly, sir. Yes, that's the point. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Shubha.
Hi, ma'am. Please tell me.
Yeah, so every time we have this issue about when they comment on their assets, you know, we have 2 acre and 1 acre, and that's something that we just can't verify. And even in this virtual thing, I don't think they can be able to show that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's going to be a problem.
Goes by faith, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Just with your questions and, you know, those things you'll have to ask. Yeah.
Correct.
Any other facilitator has any other input on that part? Probably you can give some suggestions, sir, how we all find out.
As far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, there is these land holdings and all, they have this Pahani and Pattas, they call it. So those documents, we can ask them to show it to us.
Oh, will you be able to look at that over the video call, sir? Will that be good enough?
No, we can ask them to upload it in one of the documents.
Currently, we don't
Any
have a
document related to land holdings.
Sir, Ravi sir, we right now don't have a placeholder for uploading anything other than the income certificate.
Okay. So in the income certificate, the PDF part of it, we can ask them to make it into first page and second page.
So the one thing is that
but I'm not sure we may get a compliance issue if we add any property related to uploading.
Yeah, one more thing is that regarding the pattas, if they say that we have patta and attach it, it's fine. Mostly the issue is that people don't come for accept that. Yes, they don't disclose that they have those assets, right?
Yeah.
So then there is no point of verifying.
If it is on the reverse side, as it have been better, correct. But in this one, as you said,
so they will not upload those documents in the first place because they don't want to disclose.
I think in the interview we can cross question and know the authenticity of their document.
With a little bit of rural background, it is possible.
Okay, what we can do, I suggest one thing. What we can do here, if any facilitator have any doubt on the assets or the information provided by the students or the parents, they can give the to other facilitator for cross verification. Okay, with mutual understanding with both individuals, both facilitators, they can talk to each other and they can cross verify.
Yeah, that is also a good suggestion, sir.
I think one way in one of the discussion was told is that overall family situation has to be assessed, whether they are able to, how many children are being educated simultaneously.
Yes, sir.
And then you will get an idea, whatever little they declare as far as the land or their asset is concerned, whether they are able to successfully manage or not. It is not only from the property alone, but from the other education, other children being educated, income declared, some sort of a judgment is required there. And
Yes,
that will be the one that will enable the facilitator to overcome this dilemma.
That's true, sir. Yeah, you will have to see the big picture.
Yeah, Shubha, one more thing.
I would like to add here.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, one more, the poverty assessment tool that we use is the electricity bill.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So as an index, as an indicator of poverty, so that we do in our institution.
Yes,
Acha.
that is nice.
Will that help, sir? That is a good indicator you all feel?
Yeah, that definitely helps.
But,
Okay.
in Tamil Nadu, there is one issue. All agriculturists, big or small, they are given free electricity.
Okay.
So, big, small, medium, everybody is given free electricity.
Everywhere
So based on that,
happens that.
we cannot.
No, is it for home also, sir? Is it for home also?
Yeah, even for home.
Okay.
They use it for home, sir. They are using for air conditioners.
Oh. So we should see the air conditioner and then decide.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is why when we see the house, that those things and all, yes,
Yeah.
we can decide on that.
Yeah, living
But
conditions.
going by electricity bill, it is not possible to assess.
Because in Karnataka, the agriculture is free, but the home is not free.
No, here they are connecting it from the agriculture. It is provided for agriculturists, but it goes to the home and they go use.
Policy wise, it's only for agriculture. If it is
Policy
a
wise
home,
for
yeah,
agriculture,
yeah,
yes.
but like
correct.
they are able to establish a back connection.
Yeah,
they
that is
use
it.
it. Yeah, and we can't do much about it.
Right, sir. So it has to be probably your best judgment. That so.
It is based on us asking questions and cross questioning.
Yes.
That's how it has to be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What can I say something?
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah. Yes, I think Mr. Prabhakar has raised one good thing. Most of the times, or sometimes you can say, other than the parents, elder brothers or sisters do good kind of work, and they get good kind of salary. Okay, sometimes it happens. So in the form itself, if we can add other member details also, if possible, students should have while giving the information itself, we can take that note that is what his elder brother is doing, where he is doing the job or other stuff, what kind of salary he is getting. We can get into the details. Okay.
Correct, sir. Santosh, sir. You've got a point actually. And in fact, we had sibling details as a part of the application form in the earlier system which we had. For some reasoning, they have removed it in the new form.
Okay.
But yeah, we will take that as an input. May not happen in this year, sir, but we will take that as an input for the next year.
Okay. Facilitators can get the details from their side or doing the conference call with the parents and the student. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And they can note down and they can, while giving the their comments on the scholarship, they can provide that details if they find anything. Okay.
Correct.
And
That you all can do.
For Maharashtra, if you find any concern or any doubt on any students' asset details or before providing the scholarship, you want to have a check, you can let me know. I can get some help from my friends all over Maharashtra and get the exact asset details. Not exactly the living condition and the exact.
Right, sir.
I can get the annual income at least.
Right.
Since we are providing the scholarship for 4 years, we don't want to waste that money.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. And that
we should cross. For Maharashtra, you can always come to me if you have any doubt of any student or any other facilitator. If they are not able to decide.
Definitely, sir. Santosh, sir. That's a good, good. Thank you very much. So at this point, juncture, I want to also make a point. One of the facilitators in the last session was asking me that suppose they are not able to verify in the first year and we have given scholarship, can we cancel it in the next year? This is definitely one point for you also. Please let us know if you get to know in the second year that, you know, that student is not deserving. We can always cancel his scholarship at that point and give it to some other deserving student. So if you get to know anything about the student, you can please let us know.
Subhaji.
Ha, sir.
Actually, sometimes we face the problem of real income of the student's parent. Because what happens, their parents, suppose his father or mother, they are working in some private factory or somewhere like that, and they get the certificate from government, that is from either from the office of a deputy collector or say Mamladar, like that. And their people give the income, whatever you ask, and they simply give the certificate.
I know,
At
sir.
that time, yeah, sometimes we misguide or sometimes we don't make a correct assessment of their income.
Correct.
They may working somewhere else and they get the certificate, income certificate from government. So I think this is a really problem, and sometimes we also confuse whether to recommend or not to recommend like that. But while we are going to their house and see all the amenities and their life of the living style, then that comes to know that it is not whether it is a correct income shown by student or not. It is like this. I think there must be some guideline about their income. You know? Actually, the parent or their father, student's father, suppose he is working as a laborer or some in such a position, we should accept the income tax certificate, whatever given by their employee.
Right, sir. Sir, many a times we have faced one problem when we say that you please provide us with the pay slip or the income, appointment letter kind of a thing from your employer. That is also kind of forged kind of document is what we have received, sir. It is not believable.
Okay.
Yeah, they are able to do it on the letterhead and give it to us. So it is actually, it is tough, sir. It is a very tough situation to assist the student.
At the same time, sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. Suppose that father is an entrepreneur and having a very good income, and just they get the certificate from the government. That is the deputy collector's office or Mamladar's office, like that.
हाँ sir, सही बता रहे हैं आप. That happens. That is what is happening also actually.
Okay.
Not just in Gujarat, sir. Everywhere it is happening.
Shubha.
Yes, sir.
So my opinion is that, first of all, if we are looking really at rural students, and the really poverty is at the highest level in the rural areas.
Right.
And as one of our friends here mentioned that, it also depends how many children you have, how many are going to college education.
Correct.
And apart from that, our scholarships anyway don't cover the full cost.
Exactly, sir.
So we should keep all this in mind while assessing the student, rather than, going by records. And anyway, through video, they are showing their house, their assets, their neighborhood and all that. I think that's good enough for us to make a judgment.
Great, sir. Yeah, that is true. I think this video call will be much better than where the parents and the student used to visit you. So I think you will be able to at least have a glance at the house and their amenities. So you will be able to make a better judgment is what we are thinking. Let's see, sir, how it goes.
Definitely. It will at least one step forward in the right direction.
Yes.
You're right.
Shubha.
Yes, sir.
If you have any doubt on the parents' income, annual income, or the documents they have provided,
right, sir.
If they are working in any limited or private limited or limited company, you can always ask for their Form 16. Okay.
Form 16. Okay.
And still you have a doubt, on the documents they have provided, you can stop it. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
You can't, I think, and sometime back, my network was not good. Okay, you have raised one question. Okay, if you, sometime you find the first year we have provided the scholarship, and second year we come to know that the students' annual income or the living conditions are good. So that I think we should stop this providing this scholarship from second year.
Right, sir.
Shubha, one more thing.
Sir.
We had, because last year, I think I had one case where the student first year we had given her the scholarship.
Okay.
Second year when it came for renewal, during discussions, I came to know that she has received a Siemens scholarship as well.
Right, sir.
Then I had to stop it and told her that I cannot recommend you for the second year. Since you have already suppressed one fact, you will have to refund the scholarship. You can get only one. So, request all the other colleagues here.
Yes, sir.
Any other idea they have to find out whether the student is getting any other scholarship. Because first year it is difficult. They would have applied for 4 or 5 places.
Exactly, sir.
Getting it would have been only in the second year we will know.
Correct.
Whether the student has got both the years. I mean, both the scholarships are for more than 2 scholarships. In
Correct,
fact, the girl I was talking about, she had got 3 or 4 scholarships.
My God.
So I think it is.
But is there a policy that you should not have more than one scholarship?
Yes, there's a policy, I think.
No, sir. Ravi, sir, I would like to correct here. There is a place in the application. There is a place in the application where we are asking, are you receiving any other scholarship? And if so, please mention the amount.
First year, no. First year, she has not got it anything.
Okay,
only in the second year.
Even in the second year, suppose a student is getting some e-pass scholarship, and that is for 10,000. Okay. And if the student is spending 1 lakh for his college, then he is liable to get FFE scholarship along with the e-pass scholarships. Yes, that is the
all
point.
amount put together is not exceeding her,
exactly.
Expenses.
Their expenses, all amounts put together.
No, I'm taking that into account. I'm taking that into account.
Yeah. So in your case, sir, the student was getting 2 lakhs from that Siemens.
Siemens,
so,
yeah. Right.
So definitely she was not deserving of FFE anymore. So definitely that is there. So we are asking the student to enter those details, but finally it depends on the student how truthful they are, sir.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Is it not possible for FFE to get this information from the college, Shubha?
Ma'am, some colleges provide. We have a lot of colleges. We deal with nearly 400 to 500 colleges. So some of them, some of the NITs and IITs, they are ready to give us the list of students who are getting some kind of scholarship. But the other universities and all are not at all approachable, ma'am.
But like we have this bona fide certificate, right, Shubha? Like where usually they issue only one bona fide certificate for like 1 semester or something.
Correct. That's a point to do. But again, if the college is following that policy, we get to know. But if the college is not following that policy, again, that there is a problem then.
Okay.
Yeah. In Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, yes, I've seen that the student cannot get a bona fide certificate if he is taking 2 scholarships. It is issued to only one agency.
And the name is mentioned. Name of the
scholarship
is also mentioned.
Yes. Yeah. So it's totally dependent on the colleges, sir. If they are very strict, then we get to know. If they are not, then no. Especially, I face a lot of problem with West Bengal. Students are able to avail 2 or 3 scholarships, and we don't get to know at all.
Okay.
Yeah. In Karnataka, I know that they get other scholarships, but at very small levels, like e-pass and all that, which is there in Andhra and Karnataka. It's just for 10,000. So we take that into account whenever the student mentions it to us.
Yeah, another thing that we could potentially ask is like most of the scholarships now either give check or directly credit the money into the account, so we can ask for their bank statements. Like usually, like most of the scholarship give the scholarship in the name of the student, either direct credit or a check in the name of the student, right?
Correct,
so and I'm not sure if a student will have 3 or 4 bank accounts. I don't know. So technically it's a possibility, but I don't think people will go to that extent. So we can ask them to show the last 1 year transactions or whatever, because being a student, I don't think they'll do a lot of transaction on their bank statements or ATM cards or something. So maybe we can ask them to upload their bank statement. Most banks give soft copies now. It's not even like we have to look at the passbook. They can give a PDF file from the bank's website or something.
That's a nice idea.
That's a good idea, sir. We'll take it into account. But I think some of the facilitators are already doing that when they are doing the verification till now. I mean, the physical verification where we didn't interfere too much. They were asking for their statement kind of a thing to get to know the parent statement also sometimes to get to know what are the transactions.
Even the parent statement, both of it is verified.
Yes.
Parent statement is a little tricky because like I myself have 3 accounts, right? Like so for different reasons. But like that's why like it is generally good to look at the student's account, Ravi sir. That's why.
Yeah, correct. I accept it. But at least there will be a little bit of fear in the mind. No?
Yes.
True.
Yeah, we did that to few of the students last year, and we found that some parents were getting a lot of transactions was happening, and we had rejected those students on that basis. We have done that, sir. Okay. But the volume is very, very high for the staff to handle that. So we rely a lot on you facilitators to do the real verification actually.
Now with UPI and all, everybody is doing bank transaction, So
correct, sir.
Huge transactions, so you cannot monitor it.
Cannot monitor. Point, sir.
To a certain extent, yes, sir. To a certain extent, just at least to give a thing of fear among them.
Better trust, sir. Trust our students.
Yeah, we need to trust.
So trust them and wish them all the best.
Sir, even in this scholarship, we are trusting them 80% and 20% only we are judging them.
Correct, sir. Yeah. Great, sir. Santosh, sir, you were making a point. Have you completed it? Sorry, did we interrupt you? Or we did not hear the last part. Nalwade, Santosh Nalwade, sir.
Yeah.
I think 1 minute I would like to interview one Mr. Rajaratnam. I think he's trying to contact. He's muted. Maybe he's having some problem. Maybe
sir.
He's trying to make some point by moving his hand. If you are alert, Rajaratnam. Maybe he's not able to make. Just I don't have any point to make, but I'm seeing him time to time trying to do his best to put a point across.
Yes, sir. I'm trying
you
to
can please go
unmute
ahead.
him.
You can please go ahead.
Yeah, Santosh, sir, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was raising the point. I think it was regarding the first year, so FFP has provided the scholarship, and later on in second year, we came to know that the documents or the salary or the income provided by the students is not correct. He is having more income than the he has provided. So from second year onwards, so we should go ahead and stop this scholarship.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We need that, sir. Suppose we get to know, of course, we reject the students directly. But if any of the facilitators get to know, please keep us informed so that we can reject that student, sir. That can be done. We are doing that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions on the verification part, sir?
Madam Shubha.
Shubha, madam.
Shiva, sir. Tell me, sir.
Yeah, actually, this is not related to this verification, but I have one concern. Like previously, I used to be there in Bangalore. Now I moved to Hyderabad. So everything, my details was there in Bangalore. So if any student allocation, like I want to be prioritized to Hyderabad person so that I can speak and I can verify properly.
Okay, sir.
I have sent an email also on this one now only.
Okay, sir. Sir, but the question is, are you comfortable doing Karnataka students or Andhra students, Telangana students?
Yeah, Telangana and Andhra both, because speaking language and finding will be easy actually. Karnataka also I can do, but if they say place, area, where they are located, if I'm speaking with them, it will be easy to find out.
Okay, sir. I will make the change in our system.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Rajaratnam, sir, you were saying something, sir?
Yeah, I don't have a major point about the income business. Out of discussion was taking place.
Correct, sir.
As I've seen from the last 15-20 years, I must now feeling it is as a big issue. People working in an office, they used to supply salary certificate. There was no problem. Only people doing a private business or some other type of business or agricultural income, only those people will give a certificate from the government, Tahsildar or something like that. and that certificate we used to accept as the valid income certificate.
Which is generally
correct, sir.
Even today, people who are mentioning the other types of income, whatever income they gave, if they don't declare the correct source of income, they give a certificate by the Tahsildar. This family income is so much, so that we have to accept.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know what.
That was the problem, sir, that if they give false certificate, then how do we assess the student? That was the discussion that was going on. So,
yes.
yeah, we have concluded that, sir, if possible, I mean, through living conditions, you should be able to make out if the student is deserving or not. And also the number of, children they have, the number of dependents in the family. Based on these, you'll make a judgment. No problem, sir. Sir, yes, sir.
Here in Pune, I work with tens of children.
Right, sir.
Okay, what we normally do here is we normally visit students' home. Okay,
correct, sir.
And on the basis of their living condition, okay, we can judge the annual income and the documents on the basis of the documents which they have provided. Okay, after talking with the parents, we can definitely come to the closure of the decision. We should proceed with the scholarship or not. Okay.
Correct.
That is the means we should go ahead and visit if possible. In this pandemic situation, this is not possible to all the facilitators, but definitely, okay, for those students who are having the concerns, we can go ahead and do the home visits.
True, sir. But sir, sometimes it is very unrealistic. Sometimes we give very far away students to our facilitators. If it is 200, 300 kilometers away, then visiting becomes a big problem. I know, and for a fact, most of our facilitators are also quite aged category. So we really don't force them to go and visit the student's house, sir.
That's why I told you. For Maharashtra, any part of Maharashtra, you can always come to me for those students.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll do that. We will cross check with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Shubha, with respect to verification, right? Like, so we do the verification only in the first year, right? We don't do it for renewals.
Correct, right? Correct, sir. Only first year, yes. The moment we take on the student as a FFE scholar, after your verification, after you have said yes, then the student is there with us for the next 4 years, unless and until you see any of these other issues like getting other scholarship, or suddenly his sibling has got a job and is able to support those kind of things. Yeah, and those things we get to know only if the student tells us.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, but like generally, like during the renewal application, the student that submits, like what kind of information do you verify?
So
like, from a renewal
we are only verifying whether his merit things. We are not verifying his income again. There is one question where we ask, has there been any change in your income? And if yes or no, and if yes, then mention the income value. But most of the times we have seen that it always is below 2.5 lakh because they enter the details, no sir. So it is totally up to them to enter what it is.
Okay.
You can ask for this income proof or salary income certificate.
Again, sir.
Every renewal, yeah.
Normally.
Shubhaji, it would be better again to ask for income certificate in a renewal case also.
Sir. Sir,
if we don't ask any other things, but it would be better suppose we take income tax or income certificate every year.
Every income tax nobody gives, sir. Most of them gives income certificate only.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the same income certificate is also going to the college also. For example, these NIT and IIT colleges, they have tuition fee waiver based on their income, correct?
Yes.
So from the fees they are paying, we also get to know whether their income has changed or not. If it is below 1 lakh, then they have complete tuition fee waiver. If it is between 1 lakh to 5 lakhs, they get some 1/3 of the tuition fee they have to pay. Above 5 lakh, they have to pay the complete tuition fees. So from that also we get to know whether the student is really which income band is falling in. No, sir. Currently, we don't have that collecting income certificate in second year and all that. Yeah, once we take them in first year and we just support them for the next 4 years, unless and until it's any special case.
Okay. So another question is, like, we have a limit of 40,000 rupees as the upper limit, right?
Correct, sir. Yes.
What has happened in one of my students' case was like somebody was a day scholar or something. Okay, so the actual amount that they spent was actually less than 40,000, but you people credited 40,000 for that year.
Pardon me, sir. He was getting 40,000.
Yeah, so the upper limit is 40,000, but
yes.
like because the student was a day scholar, the total expense that they had in that year was like 30,000 or 33,000 or something.
Correct.
Okay,
correct, sir. Correct.
But like you did credit 40,000, like so they got 7,000 extra, or like 6,000 extra or something. So when you approve scholarship, upper limit is fine. Like if they have like spent 1 lakh and if we as a policy we can approve only like 40, I can understand that. But if they spent only, let's say, 33,000, being a day scholar and they are staying in home and studying, and like the expenses is very low, only the college fees and the tuition fees is the only thing that we have to pay, then we should only pay 33,000, right? Like why are we paying 40,000?
Correct, sir. Normally that doesn't happen. We only pay what is their expense.
Okay.
In fact, some students get 4,000, 5,000 also. There have been students who have got even less, like 4,000, 5,000, because their fees is only 10,000, and when they fail, we penalize them with 50% scholarship, right? So we give them only 50% of what. So that they are getting less. Don't know, sir. That particular student might have given us some other proof. Say, but we take transportation sometimes. So if he's claiming that, okay, I'm traveling by, if he's claimed something, then we give it to them, sir. We are, and one more thing I would like to tell all of you is this time what we are doing is we are being a little more lenient and giving them a higher range of 5,000. So if a student is spending some 32,000, we have the receipts, etc. for 32,000. We want to give that extra liberty and give them up to 35,000. So if a student is falling between 35 to 40, he'll get 40,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like doing it in the increment of 5,000.
5,000. Yes,
that
sir.
range.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We want to minimize the dependency on the receipts a lot, sir, because it is a lot of work for us to look at each and every receipt, and sometimes. Yeah, if the college is giving proper receipts, if the student is in the hostel, well and good. But if a student is staying outside, he's eating in some canteen, he gets all kinds of receipts. So it doesn't really make sense for us to keep looking at everything. So that is the reason why we want to give an assessment based on the fees and provide that range kind of a method.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. When the student is sanctioned scholarship, you should tell them at least to contact the facilitator once or twice before they get the next renewal. They won't bother at all. Only they will come at the last minute and say that you give the recommendation for renewal.
Right,
so, sir. You have to insist, actually, Otherwise, what is the use of facilitators there?
Sir, we are
only
very...
for recommending, it's not correct, actually.
You're definitely right, sir. This input has been taken, and we tell the students that your facilitator is not just for recommending, he's your mentor. And you're supposed to give a complete update to the facilitator in terms of your academics, what training you're going through, what difficulties you're facing. Even if you have any complaint about FFE, you can talk to your facilitator, because they are your face. So we do that, sir. We are encouraging, but yeah, students, really, all of them do not follow that method. You can be very strict with your students, sir. I leave the liberty to you all to be completely strict with your students and tell them that I'm not going to recommend if you do not be in touch with me twice or thrice or whatever you request. We are planning to do some kind of work on that also. Let's see, sir, how right now it is there, sir, in the system that we ask the student to enter the date he has met and called the facilitator. But I understand sometimes the students are doing fraud also. They just enter some date without even calling the facilitator.
Yeah. May I just suggest?
That is my experience, madam. Actually, I have informed you also in one or two of the candidates, actually. They did like that. Without contacting us, they said they have contacted me.
Correct, correct, sir, correct. So, yes, sir. We will take strict action, not to worry.
Shubha, may I just give a suggestion?
Pardon me, ma'am?
Madam?
Yeah, I have a suggestion.
Yeah, go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that like you have enforced it this time, that they must call the facilitator and give the date and time that they have. Why not have it? Maybe they are asked to, they're required to, it becomes mandatory for them to contact the facilitator at least thrice a year.
Yes, ma'am. We can do that. We can do that. Yeah.
What I insist, and they do every once or twice a month. Yes. They do.
At least just to know that we are all there, still alive.
In between, because the rule was that the head of the department could sign their forms, and I have, I think 2 years back, I was intimated, I got an email that your scholar has been, this scholarship has been sanctioned for your scholar, whereas that scholar never contacted me. When I asked him, he said, ma'am, it says that you can get it signed by your HOD. And I got it done from the college.
It was.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He is right. See, ma'am, what happens for us, the volume of the students is very, very high. So if we insist all the students to go back to the facilitator to get the signature, then the process of the renewal gets delayed a lot. That is the reason.
No. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But now that we are doing all these things virtually, everything is online.
Yeah.
They can always contact the facilitator.
Yes,
like instead of it being once, we can ask them, make it quarterly.
Yes,
mandatory to contact the facilitator.
He need not come to us at all. Now technology has so much improved.
Yes,
sir. Come on a video call.
Correct.
Video call and tell us that what is that his performance and what are all his extracurricular activities, how he is doing, any problem.
Correct, sir.
When we are ready to hear him, what is the problem for him to talk to us?
You're right, sir. You're right.
And we can give him more suggestions or something.
I agree, sir. I agree completely. We'll do that, sir. We'll try to introduce this quarterly calling also wherever possible. And
even if he is financially so bad, we can always recommend to another organization is getting only 40,000 a year. This boy deserves more. You give it.
Correct, sir.
Where we are connected with them, no?
Correct, sir. Correct. The student should actually utilize this contact very well, sir. But students are not up to the mark these days.
Not only in in other organizations also I have seen like that. The students' behavior and culture is like that.
Yes, sir. It has changed a lot over the years.
No, I feel that after the first year, they realize that they can bypass the facilitator. And that is the reason why they don't keep in touch.
No, because earlier, the FFE was insisting them to go to the facilitator, get the marks cards attested by them, seen them, and all those things. So they were under obligation to come to us. Now that they have been asked to go to the college, get it and get the scholarship from the FFE. Okay, when FFE is ready to grant them the scholarship, why they should bother about the facilitator?
Right, sir.
Earlier also they had to collect the check from the facilitator. Therefore, now the money is going directly to them, so they don't bother.
Let the money go directly to them. Let it not come to us. At least they should have.
We will do that, sir. In the beginning. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Shubha, madam.
Yes, sir.
We have to cultivate at least that kind of culture with them, madam.
Yes, sir. Got it.
They're still youngsters.
Yes, sir. We will insist, sir. In the first year itself, we will try to tell them that, you should talk to the facilitator at least thrice in a year and keep in touch with the facilitator. That's what we will do.
Next time when we recommend, we will say whether these people have contacted us or not.
Definitely, sir.
We'll also tell you what is the feedback. We can give you the feedback.
Okay, definitely, sir. We can do that. Yeah.
Hello, madam.
If you put some condition, if you put some condition, then and then they will come. Otherwise, they won't come.
Yes,
that's why I said make quarterly contact a mandatory requirement.
I think everybody has the same complaint about their students. They don't come after first year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They only think that facilitators are there to get them the scholarship.
Yeah.
They don't know that other facilities also they can get it through them.
Correct.
If they are really sincere and honest with them, they will recommend to some other organization also. This boy has done well. You please see and get some job also. We know where the jobs are available. We can recommend them also.
True, sir. Sir, we will try our best to talk to these students and inculcate that culture.
Can I say something?
Sure, sir.
Shubha?
Sure, sir.
Everyone here is raising the concern students are not contacting the facilitators. Okay. What I am following, while interacting with the student in the first year itself, inform them, okay, ask them to contact me every time. Is after their semester exams, they have to inform me the results. After their final exams, they have to inform the results. And in between, they need anything or they want any suggestion from or any help, they contact me. Okay. So instead of asking FFP or instead of asking Shubha to inform the students to contact the
No,
facilitators, I think no. What I am saying, what I want to say, first year itself, ask the students, okay, they have to contact you two or three times, okay, in the year, okay. They have to update the marks or their performance. They have to send the emails, okay. And if they have not sent, next year, they will means we will not going to recommend you for the renewal. We can directly say that. I am following the same thing here.
You don't get my point. That was bypassed. Our recommendation was not needed in the second year or third year. That's the reason why
we don't have any ego saying that they should contact us. But as a student, it is his responsibility to contact the facilitator and tell him what is happening. Okay, when the FFE gives the scholarship, he is not even coming and telling us we got the scholarship. Okay. Secondly, they will not come and tell in that 6 month span what he is doing. And only when Shubha says this month, this month, your renewal is there, then only he will come to us saying that, okay, sir, please recommend. That too, sometimes they will say lie also. I had brought to the notice of FFE. This gentleman never contracted us and he is telling lie. So this is we don't underestimate the student or overestimate. But FFE can tell them that please contact.
Yes, sir. We will do our best.
That's all.
Yeah, we will do our best.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, if
I want
there
to
are...
inform one thing.
Okay, I think
I already informed Shubha also about it. In fact, I am having a WhatsApp group of all my scholars, and pandemic came and spoiled a party. In fact, I had arranged a get-together of all the FFE scholars in the first week of April. I had informed Shubha also, but unfortunately, this pandemic had spoiled that party.
Wonderful, sir. Great idea.
So we were having it, get-togethers, we have it. At least on phone, I speak to them and they speak to me. We are having something like a chat session in the WhatsApp group.
Very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We will create that also.
Yeah. Sir, we are going beyond the time. I'm sure everybody is busy. So if you have any questions regarding the online verification, please ask me and we will wind up. I will follow it up with the process again in a Word document with you. At this point, I want to ask you all, sir, if you all are comfortable, right, with a computer and all that. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to do this verification.
I just had a question. Yes, I think I can do it on my iPad. I don't need a laptop.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. If you're comfortable verifying the documents, I have no problem. Okay. All right, sir. Shall we conclude?
Yeah.
Okay, Shubha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Great
Madam. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Everybody,
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.